Hi there, I get a lot of questions on how the Augment Double Trouble works, so I ended up taking some time on the test server to give you all the answers you were looking for. But before we get started, if you would like to support the channel and stay up to date on TFT mechanics, why not subscribe? It does help me out a lot and it keeps the channel going. Now let's get down to business. How does the Augment Double Trouble really work? When you place two of the same unit, for example 2 Nidalis, on your board, both of them will receive bonus AD, AP, armor and magic resistance. The amount differs between your augment being silver, gold or prismatic. But this mechanic has a dilemma. What happens if you 3-star this Nidali? In TFT, if you have a 3-star unit, it is not possible for it to show up in your shop anymore. This would mean that your Nidali is no longer able to benefit from the Augment Double Trouble. So Riot came up with a solution. If you hit a 3-star unit, the game will drop you a blue orb. This orb will contain a 2-star version of the unit you just 3-starred. Now you can play both and get your bonus stats. Unfortunately, players ended up facing a new issue. What happens if you hit your 3-star unit before selecting the augment? For example, Nidalee players would usually roll down in stage 3-1 and use the astral shops to get her to 3-star. In stage 3-2, they see the Augment Double Trouble, and they would really like to take it, but they can't use it for Nidalee anymore. This is why Riot ended up making another change in patch 12.13. When you select the augment, the game will do a one-time check on your board and look for any 3-star units. If the game ends up finding something, it will drop you blue orbs with the corresponding 2-star units. Now this is all of the basic information out of the way. Let's get to the core of this video. Right now, Varus is an extremely popular champion, since he's very easy to 3-star with Astro Shops. He's also very popular with the Augment Double Trouble. However, this creates an awkward situation, because there's only 18 tier 3 units in the champion pool. Only 2 players are able to 3-star a unit, and only if they end up finding every single one. But what about this blue orb from Double Trouble that contains 3 of them? Can you use this to your advantage, to deplete the pool and to deny your opponent Varus 3-star? The answer to this is yes and no. Here's why. Every single time you receive an orb that contains specific units from augments, these units are not considered out of the pool until you pick up the orb. This is why some players like to keep the orb on the board to slightly increase the chance of hitting a unit they're looking for. But sometimes the game is confronted with a situation where a unit doesn't exist in the champion pool anymore because the players in the lobby ended up buying every single one. If a player would now pick up a Double Trouble orb or use something like a champion duplicator, the game is now forced to create a clone. This clone will only exist for that specific player, and if he ends up dropping out of the game or he sells his cloned unit, it will simply cease to exist. It will not return to the champion pool since, it wasn't a part of it in the first place. So let's take a scenario with 2 players contesting each other for Varus. Player 1 has pulled a total of 7 Varus out of the pool. Player 2 has Double Trouble and is going for a roll down. If player 2 hits Varus 3-star and picks up the orb, what will happen? We have 18 in the pool, 7 are taken by player 1 and 9 are taken by player 2. The orb will now attempt to pull as many Varus out of the pool as possible. In this case, it would be 2. Now all 18 are out, but we're still missing one, so it will create a clone to finish up the Varus 2-star for the Double Trouble player. This will make it impossible for the other player to hit Varus 3, since all 18 are out, until player 2 decides to sell his Varus or ends up getting defeated. Now some players will be confused, because they might have encountered a situation with one player having Double Trouble and the other player was still able to hit his Varus 3-star. Why is this possible? The answer to this lies in the other players. If any player has Varus on his board, bench or even his shop, it is considered out of the pool. This can create a situation that when a player picks up his Double Trouble orb, there are currently no Varus in the pool, so all of them will be clones. But if the other players get defeated, or they sell the Varus, or, refresh their shop, we now have a situation with some Varus being back in the pool. Both players are now capable of hitting the Varus 3-star, even though the player with Double Trouble ended up hitting him first. It's an unfortunate situation, but hey, it's called Double Trouble after all. I hope you learned something, and see you next time.